やったーやったぞよくやった。さすがオーレンジャー、カクレンジャーのおかげです。ありがとう。
The Super Sentai Versus movie series can trace its origins back to 1978's Jakka Dengettai vs. Go Ranger, an elaborate cinematic presentation that tied together Toei's Henshin Heroes universe.
ゴレンジャー、サハラ砂漠、サハラ将軍率いるサハラ軍団と戦っている。ヨーロッパでは仮面ライダー V3 が鉄面軍団と戦っている。モンゴルで剣闘士軍団と戦っているのは機械ダーだ。そしてアマゾンの奥地では仮面ライダーアマゾンが10面機を相手に奮闘しているんだ。
悪は滅びたわけだ。
There would be other team-ups, such as Turbo Ranger's Great Gathering of 10 Sentai Special.
これまで戦ってきたスーパー戦隊の選手たち、ボマ100族はターボレンジャーに任せてください。任せてください。
数々の邪悪の挑戦をことごとく退けてきたスーパー戦隊だが、今新たな脅威ボーマ100族が出現した。
And Super Sentai World, a short 3D film that was shown in amusement parks and special events across Japan in 1994. But these specials weren't written as team-up stories in the same vein as Jakka vs. Go Ranger. It would not be until March of 1996, 18 years after Jakka vs. Go Ranger, that another true versus movie would appear. Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, Ole vs Kakuranger.
バラ歯車のスーパー歯車に大ピンチの俺たちの前に現れた妖怪オンボお化け。2体の強敵にオーレンジャーロボオーブロッカーを奪われてしまった。もはやなすすべはないのか。その時、人に隠れて悪を切る忍者戦隊カクレンジャー剣山。オーレンジャー、カクレンジャー、そしてキングレンジャー、ついに揃った11人の戦士。超力、忍法、2大パワーでバラドイヤの野望を砕け。
テレビでは絶対見られない超大サービス。
超力戦隊オーレンジャー、オーレ対カクレンジャー、超力変身オーレ。
This movie would become the inaugural entry in what will go on to become the Super Sentai Versus series of movies. The Super Sentai Versus series, which through this video is made up of 24 separate entries, is a direct-to-consumer video series. Typically, they will feature the previous year's Super Sentai team partnered with the team that is on the air at the time of the video's release, which historically has been between January and March. In the case of Ohranger vs. Kakuranger, the movie was released to video stores and on Laserdisc in March of 1996. Initially, the intention was to produce an original Ohranger special for Toei's V Cinema, but producer Susumu Yoshikawa proposed the inclusion of Kakuranger. When production started, only Ninja Red and Ninja White were scheduled to appear, but the other members of the Kakuranger cast offered to appear when they heard about the project. This is evident when watching the movie, as Ninja Blue, Black, and Yellow only appeared fully in the last third of the movie. Regardless, the inclusion of the full cast for both teams made this movie a major milestone in the Super Sentai series, one that continues to have an impact even to this day, with the release of Real Soldier vs. Looping Ranger vs. Battle Ranger, the latest Versus movie. So what is the movie about? Well, it helps to think about it as an Ohranger TV episode that guest stars the Kakuranger team. Machine Empire's Prince Boldort declares that he can surpass Emperor Bacchus Wrath by defeating the Ohranger first. So they decide to make a contest of it, with Bacchus using a new machine piece while Bolton summons a yokai named Onbu Obake. The combination of these two threats is too much for the Ohrangers, who are forced to retreat after their initial encounter. Thankfully, Chief Counselor Naoyuki Miura has recruited some help, the Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. Together, both teams would take on the Machine Empire's new threat and protect the Earth once more. The reason I suggest it's best to think about this movie as an Ohranger episode, it's because that's what it is, even going so far as to include the show's opening and closing songs, with only the episode title calling out the title of the movie. The movie also relies heavily on Ohranger stock footage, which stretches things out as every robot, weapon, special attack, and henshin sequence plays out the full sequence of stock footage that is associated to it. Also, unlike many of the more recent entries in the Versus series, there is a distinct separation between the Ohrangers and the Kakuranger. They don't combine their attacks or lend their powers to each other. They fight together, but they each do their own thing. Again, this lends to this feeling more like a special episode than a cinematic take on the concept. But it is a fun watch, and some of the cinematography really stands out with beautiful framing and incredible action scenes, like this waterfall sequence. I also really enjoy seeing Hiroshi Miyauchi reverting back to the character he played in Zubat as Ken Hayakawa during the Western town scene. It's been many years since I last saw this movie, but it definitely still holds up. Compared to today's Super Sentai Versus series, it may come across as a relatively basic affair, but it's one well worth experiencing.